Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea. Welcome back to another high-level game of StarCraft 2. Today in the bottom left as our blue Zerg player playing for Team Dragon Phoenix Gaming, it's going to be Dark. And in the top right is our red Terran player playing for Team Storm. It's going to be none other than Gumiho. The man who always has not just one plan, but multiple plans within a single game. Usually a lot of aggression coming out of the Terran player into either mech or bio. I think before he was known as more of a mech player, but lately he's really been going hard on that bio as well and having some decent results with that. Dark, however, is going to be switching this up. I did not quite catch the pool timings. This seems like a little bit maybe like a 13-12 or a bit of a 14-14 over here. I'm not entirely sure of the pool timings of these build orders, as they're not very common in ZVP whatsoever, so I don't need to really know them. It is quite interesting to see what's going to happen here. This feels like a 6-ling opener into quick speed. Yep, we're going to be pulling out of gas here, and we'll get, I guess, a hatchery the moment we can. Ooh, one drone is going to remain in the gas, so curious to see what that's going to be doing. Okay, no, just also gets pulled out. Cool stuff. Will be 4 lings for now, so not 6 lings like I thought it would be. Then one more drone and then another ling. So this really is just made here. These links are being built to cancel a low ground command center. Now Gumiho is opening up with a low ground command center, and as he decided not to scout this time around, this eventually will be cancelled. I don't think there's really any way around that. I'm not entirely sure who this situation favors, honestly. Like, if the Reaper goes down, that's obviously bad for Gumiho, but if the Reaper stays alive and you just have to rebuild the CC on the high ground, I don't even think it's necessarily too bad here for Gumiho. We'll have to wait and see exactly what's going to be going down, though, before we can make any judgment calls on the current state of the game. These links are going to be waiting for a little bit longer. We have 18, 17 extra seconds for these Zerg links, and now they'll start moving in. Reaper immediately will have to return back home, I can only imagine. He's not quite doing that. He's going to instead try and hold the low ground. I think he thinks this is a pull first, and not with speed. He thinks this is just a vanilla pull first, and he can hold this with... Ooh, okay, here comes a bunker. Link speed has finished up now. Second Marine is on the way as well. Now, this Reaper is going to get chased away by these 2 links that were still in the main base. Maybe this SCV pool actually is the answer. SCV can get taken out just on the correct side of the command center. New SCV needs to start moving in to try and start building there. We still have, what is it, 2 Marines only. 3rd Marine pops out right now. Some good hold position micro can definitely help. We're not seeing any hold position micro whatsoever. This is just a straight up A move here out of these SCVs. That is a massive error of judgment. That is a mistake. 7 SCVs will be going down. Gumiho still is up 4 workers despite that. But I think this could have been a lot better. With a little bit of hold position micro, I think these SCVs would have stayed, alive just quite a bit longer. Depot and the bunker are going to be helping out right now. We see these links trying to dive in, wanting to get another SCV kill, but I think that's pretty useless at this point. Right now, I'd love for Dark to just kind of go back home, get up that drone count, take the 3rd base. You did force out kind of that delayed... Ooh, what is this? Delayed reactor on the factory. We have a quick stim coming in as well. This almost feels like it should be going into like a 3 racks before triple CC. It's such a quick stim, right? It's 80 more seconds. You can still get the combat shield, but what's it going to be for? 2nd barracks on the way as well. So I guess this barracks will eventually swap with this factory. We'll see some initial Hellions come out at least. Starport will be delayed. Now this build order obviously is a little bit improvised at this point because the early game was so extremely chaotic. This is a risky move with these 3 Marines. I don't even think he's going to be getting it. If there was 10 links out on the map, I guess you have the Hellions to help out as well. Overlord! He's barely going to survive here with 17 HP. Dark will be quite happy with that. Saw the Hellions being constructed out of the factory, or at least something being reactored out. And in this matchup, majority of the time that is indeed just going to be Hellions and not mines. If this was a TVP, perhaps mines would be somewhat viable. As we see the factory floating over right now after 4 Hellions, building another reactor, this time around for the starport. The main task of the factory after building those Hellions is just creating add-ons for other buildings. So it's not that useful right now. 2 medevacts will be popped out. I guess we can get combat shield as well at some point. I don't think combat shield will be done before the push hits, but should be done pretty fast. Maybe for medevac number 3, or if Gumiho is feeling spicy, medevac 3 and 4. This could also still have an armory added on, by the way. I haven't quite discussed that possibility yet, but often these 2-1-1 type of openers don't really have any Hellions whatsoever, because you want to hit as quickly as possible. But here, I could potentially see a very powerful timing with combat shields, with an armory, and with something like 4 Hellions. Maybe even can construct a couple of extra Hellions with this factory as well, if that's what you want to be going for. We don't have an eBay yet. We're on 2 gases still. Instead it's going to be a tech lab, so most likely will be tanks as a follow-up. Here comes a scan. First new medevacs are being produced right now, and this is the first damage, if we can even consider it really damage, that Gumiho managed to inflict on Dark. CC is on the way, and these bad boys will start lifting. We see 2 extra gases being taken. Still no eBay here. Another reactor and a 3rd barracks. Still no eBay. Still no armory either, though. So it's an interesting start here. Hellions will start moving towards the left side, wanting to clear a little bit of creep. They start baiting the queens away. And this might actually allow this drop to deal some damage. This creep tumor is spotting it, though. It is insane vision range. Look at that. We'll see these marines stimming forward, moving in. Combat shield finishes up right now. We see an attempted snipe on one of these queens, but the royalty will stay alive for now. Plenty of bodyguards and plenty of transfuses available as well. One queen getting low but being microed back. This has been a very poor trade here for Gumiho, losing an absolute crap ton of marines and only taking out a single queen there in the end. Yes, a lot of transfuse energy has been used, but energy against units, especially this early in the game, or actually at any point in the game, is going to be a good trade. But this will make the follow-up pushes for Gumiho so much weaker. This started with 16 marines. We currently only have 6 marines left. Means 10 marines must have fallen. Yep, that checks out. The Hellions have gone down, and already 13 links had gone down before this. So really, you give up, well, you give up 4 Hellions, 10 marines for a queen and something like 9 links. That's obviously not a very good trade. I'm kind of disappointed by that trade as well for Gumiho. Now, the game is not over. He's not in an unplayable position, an impossible position to come back from. We still have these tanks. The creep spread isn't that far out on the map yet. The 4th base is relatively late. The 5th base is relatively late. But Gumiho also did not have the fastest 3rd base. So, given the situation in this game, I think Dark, economically speaking, is completely fine. We do see that proxy hatchery, or sorry, that macro hatchery that Dark is so extremely fond of in the main base, is going to start injecting as well. Hydralisk then is done already and starts researching the grooved spines, which will of course allow him to have that 1 extra attack range on the Hydralisk. Extremely important for the Hydra. Without that 1 extra attack range, just not that useful of a unit. This Ling run by is going to inflict a fair amount of damage. Cancels 2 depots, kills 3 SCVs and manages to go home and can now start setting up the flank on these tanks. I actually do believe that is what's going to be happening here. The Lynx come back from their special mission near the Terran base and now we'll start working on these tanks. Tanks also vulnerable from the queens on the high ground, and as a result this push is going to get cleaned up, or at least the tank count will get somewhat reset. We only have a single tank remaining. That tank is not with his army, that tank is just at home on the high ground for now. Gumiho needs to be so careful. He's just bleeding out unit after unit after unit. It's not really on the eco that he wants to be at. Armory has been delayed for no real reason either. Forgot to build it. It means that 2-2 is going to be delayed as well. Dark is staying on a lower drone count for a while already. Just now adding 7 more. Almost feels like Dark wanted to go for some aggression himself here with some Ling Hydra Bane type of play. These 2 drops are of course going to get picked up. We have another tank move out coming here out of Gumiho. These drops will force the lift off once more. But here come the reinforcements. So that's a bad drop, yeah. Don't want to be doing that in the face of these links. Here come more marines though. A couple of links will get taken out. That was a good catch here out of Gumiho, as these tanks are now going to start setting up, and I think this base needs to be at least temporarily evacuated. I love these little drops on top of the high ground, allowing these tanks the vision, allowing these tanks the ability to fire at this hatchery. We have a double drop moving out right now. At the same time, a big run by towards the third. All of these SCVs will need to be pulled away. Tank in the natural should be capable of cleaning this up with the help of these Marines, though. There's more Marines in the natural at home as well. I think this base is actually going to end up falling here. There's a couple of transfuses ready, but none of these will get used. This has not been a successful run by 4 Dark, but Gumiho still stuck. Still stuck on a very, very low base count, only on 3 bases. Is attacking 2 sides at the same time. This right side under some heavy fire after taking out that base on the 4th location already. Now this hatchery is also going to be going down. That would be absolutely huge. Queens just barely out of position. These units will need to get picked up and want to go towards that bottom right side corner. We still have a Marine drop on this little ledge as well. Not really allowing Dark to mine whatsoever. Dark currently mining only from 2 bases. 78 worker, but a lot of long distance mining going on here. This base will start mining again, and that is big. That is important even. But it is also quite painful. That he's still only on 3 bases. We actually see Gumiho out mining his opponent, despite Gumiho only being on 3 bases. I really would love a 4th base to be built over Gumiho, as I was trying some tricks here on the far right side. I do believe that instead of going for a faster 4th base, he wants to really focus on that Marine production for now, getting as many units out as possible and maybe hit something of a 2-2 timing. Burrow's on the way, 2-2 is about to finish up here for Dark. This right side push, this little move out still has some potential, let's not forget about that. They can definitely achieve something. There's just not a lot of creep over here. And Marines off creep against just pure Baneling. Yeah, that's going to go well for the Marines. Good scan. Sees a lot of these Banes. Oh, that was not the tightest micro, honestly, out of Gumiho. Is going to lose a lot of Marines for no real reason. These Banelings are by themselves. Hatchery, however, is going to get targeted down once more. Of course, while it's building, cannot be transfused. And that means that these Marines will just force a cancel. This is a good trade as well against all of these links. Another good snipe. Oh, I think that Gumiho might have overstayed his welcome a little bit here. Instead, focusing on that left side, gets another kill on a base immediately. I'd love for these tanks to start moving back a little, or at least siege up, because otherwise you're just going to lose this entire army. I'd love for them to just go back to the high ground as soon as they could have, but it seems like Gumiho has more aggressive plans here. Dark, once again, only on 2 mining bases. Gumiho with a 4th base here would be in such a good position, but for some reason just does not want to get that 4th base down. Says no, rather than being up in eco by getting more economy myself, I'll be up in eco by destroying my opponent's economy. This is of course only a temporary plan, because Natural's mining out, Main is mining out, only 3 patches there, and even the 3rd is... well, actually, no, it's not running too low yet, but it is starting to run low, and that is dangerous. Lurker Den is on the way right now, and once that Lurker Den finishes, do we have a hive? Yep, we do have a hive. Seismic Spines can be built, and once Seismic Spines is out, the era of the Marine is practically over. Ghost will be the talk of the town. Tanks are going to be very important. We do have a 2nd factory, which can start producing tanks. It seems like Gumiho is very keen on starting to push forward right now. Starts dropping on the high ground as well, with the coverage of... This tank's on the low ground. Parasitic Bomb gets used on this medevac. Medevac will fall. Marines on the high ground will stay alive, at least for now. More energy will be grabbed from that extractor. Ooh, this is going to be a fight off creep here for Dark. Not quite sure if that will be completely viable, but it seems like a lot of the medevacs have gone down. These tanks are really the only thing still standing. This wasn't that great of a fight for Gumiho, honestly. It looked okay-ish, but... a bunch of tanks have gone down right now. He's once again just marching on the creep. He's so aggressive. What are we being so aggressive for? It feels like this is not really necessary. There's no Banelings here whatsoever, though. Blinding Clouds are going to hit. These tanks aren't even really sieged. Marines will start trading against the Hydras right now. And the tanks in the back trying to do their best as well. Banelings rolling in, rolling forward. This is still on creep. Please do mind that. As Gumiho needs to quickly start running off of creep. Tank in the very far back actually helping out there with a couple of big shots. Now with this first lurker out though, scans might become an issue. First lurker is going to get targeted. Down will allow these Hydras to dish out a lot of damage during that period though. And at the end of the day, this was not a good trade here. Gumiho trading away his entire army. Now Dark is out mining Gumiho again. Creep hadn't been denied everywhere yet. Now we see a couple of scans going down. This is not actually that good. This felt so good for Gumiho, who was kind of far ahead, honestly, after some of the big snipes in the mid game. But He's just not getting a fort base right now, floating over his main towards that fort base location. I really think some extra command centers here would be absolutely key. I understand that aggression is important, but there's something as being too aggressive as well. There's a single swarm host out, an absolute classic. Did these Vipers die? Yeah, Vipers have died. We do have adaptive talents first, not seismic spines actually. Surprising move here. Will allow these lurkers to move into position a little bit quicker. That means that this tank on the low ground is probably going to get taken out at least eventually. Unless that scan lasts forever. No. Scans. Oh, good scan there. We'll get that lurker in the end. And seems like Gumiho once again kind of pushing in aggressively. He just never quits, huh? Just continuously goes. He only has one gear and it's go. Marines in the back not really doing much of anything. I wouldn't mind like a drop just heading towards his right side at some point. Yeah, a little bit of a rotation here. So much focus on this left side, which, let's be real, there's not that many objectives here in the main base. I mean, you have the hive, but it's not that big of a deal as long as the lurker then is out and the upgrades are already there. That's going to be the main focus, of course. Now, don't get me wrong, Vipers would be fantastic to have in this composition. There's a lot of creep here. Seems like Dark is going to be pushing this back. And Gumiho right now will actually need to start considering doing something late game-ish. I really cannot imagine that he looks at this situation in which we have 8, 9, 10 lurkers even, 2 more on the way, plus 2 range as well coming out. And he says to himself, hey, I can just continue building Marines here. I can just continue building my very primitive type of units and fight these extremely sophisticated lurkers, these high-tech units with these high-tech upgrades. It's just not viable. Ghosts are a necessity in this matchup once the lurker is out. And if Gumiho does not transition into that, well, he'll just be in trouble. And that's not a matter of opinion, that's a fact. The lurker is too powerful against an army like this. Tanks can, of course, manage to do something every now and again, but once Vipers get added into the mix again, you don't have anything to stop the Vipers. You can pick off these tanks for free with your abducts. Yeah, there's too many lurkers here. You cannot engage into this. This is not possible. There's 4 tanks here. Lurkers start moving forward, and this is not a fight that Gumiho can take. Despite him being up 20 supply, this is not good whatsoever. There needs to be something of a transition here. Something needs to change. Oh, Nidus Network going up in the main base right now. We see a double drop heading towards the main of his opponent. I don't think Gumiho actually... Oh my god, he doesn't have vision of this. There's no vision in the main base, and that means he's going to be in major trouble right now. Nidus Network did get spotted, but this worm did not. Now the lurkers are moving into position already. This base will get absolutely blasted by all of these lurkers. The question is, are there any lurkers at home? The answer to that is yes. These 2 lurkers will be holding off an infinite amount of Marines as well. Lurker does get targeted down eventually, but these Hydras and the reinforcement links will just be fine. 16 more Marines dropping into the main base of Dark, but Dark up 60 supply. Can just send a couple of lurkers home at this point. GG gets called. Gumiho is forced to tap out. And although he finally managed to build a 4th command center, I think 18 minutes into the game, that is just a little bit too late. That's going to be it for me today. I hope you did enjoy this game. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thank you, and bye-bye.